I gave her everything. A home, a future, a mother's love. And she repaid me by sleeping with my husband. If you think betrayal can't come from the person you loved most, let me tell you what it feels like to raise your niece like a daughter, only to have her tear your life apart from the inside. My name is Claire. I'm 42 years old. I don't have children of my own. I always thought I would. But life had other plans. When my sister died in a car accident, her 8-year-old daughter Lena had no one. So I brought her home with me. My husband Daniel and I weren't prepared to be parents overnight. But we adapted. We transformed our office into a pink bedroom. We learned bedtime routines. We attended school plays. We tucked her in and told her we loved her. Every single night. Lena was smart, sharp, a little sarcastic, like her mother. She called me Aunt Claire at first. Then just Claire. Then, one night, she whispered Mom when she thought I was asleep. I cried in the dark and didn't correct her. It felt right, natural, like we were a real family. For 10 years, I gave Lena everything. Piano lessons, birthday parties, a quiet place to heal. I fought for her in school when she was bullied. I held her hand when she cried over a boy. I defended her against everyone, including herself, because I believed in her. Daniel was just as devoted. He joked that we were the best accidental parents in town. Lena adored him. She'd crawl into his lap during movie nights, call him for help with homework. They were close. I loved watching it. I trusted it. I trusted them both more than anything. Now I sleep alone in a quiet house. The pink room is empty. So is the closet where Daniel's clothes used to hang. Lena's photo is still on the fridge. I haven't had the strength to take it down. Not yet. Not after what she did. Not after how fast she destroyed everything I built. Lena changed when she turned 16. Not in a wild, rebellious way. More like distant. Sharper. She rolled her eyes more. Stayed in her room longer. Talked less. I figured it was normal. Teenagers pull away. I gave her space. Maybe I gave her too much. Daniel handled her better than I did. He knew how to joke her out of her moods. They'd watch movies together. Make midnight snacks. Laugh behind closed doors. I loved seeing them happy. I didn't realize I was watching the beginning of something that would break me. Sometimes I'd walk into the room and feel like I'd interrupted something. A glance. A pause. But then Lena would smile. Daniel would say something dumb like, "We were just talking about how much she looks like her mom." And I'd let it go. One night, I found Lena crying in the kitchen. I sat beside her. She said it was about school, about not fitting in. I hugged her, told her she was special, that I'd always be here. She nodded, but her eyes didn't meet mine. I didn't press. I should have. Things got back to normal for a while. Or I convinced myself they did. Lena graduated, got into college. We threw a party. Daniel gave a speech. He called her our girl. She ran up and hugged him, a little too tight, a little too long. My stomach turned. Just a flicker. After she moved out, I missed her like crazy. I cried for weeks. Daniel comforted me. Said she'd call. Said she needed space to grow. I agreed. But I started noticing his phone locked more often. Notifications he'd hide. Messages he'd swipe away before I could glance. One afternoon, he left his laptop open. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for an email, but I saw a name in the chat list. Lena. I froze. Clicked. Most of the conversation was deleted, but one line stayed with me. From him, last night was everything. My hands went cold. I closed the laptop. Told myself it wasn't what it looked like. It couldn't be. She was our girl. Our daughter. She couldn't. They wouldn't, but something had already shattered inside me. and I couldn't unsee it. I wanted to believe it was innocent, that I had misunderstood, that the heart emoji was just affection, that the message meant nothing, but I couldn't ignore the weight in my chest, the way my breath caught every time Lena's name lit up on Daniel's screen. I told myself to wait, not to jump to conclusions. But then it got worse. Daniel changed his passwords, kept his phone on silent, started working late again. I knew those signs. I just never imagined I'd be looking for them in my own husband. In my own home. One evening, Lena came to visit. She was 20 now, confident, polished, almost cold. She hugged me, but it felt distant. She hugged Daniel too. That felt different. Too warm. Too familiar. My heart pounded in a way I didn't understand and didn't want to. We had dinner. Small talk. Forced laughter. I watched her. Every glance she gave him. Every time he looked down when she smiled. My skin crawled. I went to the kitchen to get dessert. My hands shook as I sliced the cake. I needed to breathe. After dinner, I caught them whispering in the hallway. I stood just out of sight. Her hand touched his arm. His eyes didn't flinch. I walked in and they jumped apart. She said she was just thanking him for the gift. I hadn't known he'd bought her anything. That night, I didn't sleep. I scrolled through old photos on my phone. Family vacations. Her 16th birthday. Daniel carrying her on his shoulders when she was 10. Memories that now felt poisoned. Stained. Unrecognizable. The next morning, I got an anonymous message. No name. Just 5 words. You need to check again. Attached was a photo. Blurry but clear enough. A hotel hallway. Daniel and Lena. Holding hands. Her head on his shoulder. I dropped my phone. My knees gave out. I sat on the floor and shook. I wanted to scream, to throw up, to wake up from whatever nightmare I had stumbled into. But it was real, and there was no going back. I waited until Daniel came home. I didn't speak. I just handed him the phone with the photo. His face went pale. He sat down without a word. That silence confirmed everything. My world shattered with just one nod. He didn't even try to lie. He said, "It wasn't supposed to happen." Like that made it better. Like it wasn't betrayal on every level. My husband, my child, the 2 people I trusted most had burned my life down together. I asked him, how long? He said it started after she left for college. They stayed in touch. It got complicated. He said Lena was lonely, that he felt protective, that it turned into something emotional and then physical. I wanted to scream. He told me he loved me, that he never meant to hurt me. But he also said he cared about Lena, that she made him feel alive. I stared at him like he was speaking another language. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I called Lena, told her to come over. She arrived like nothing was wrong. When I showed her the photo, she didn't cry. She didn't apologize. She just said, "I didn't plan this. It just happened." Then she added, "He's not the only one who felt something, Claire." That broke me. Not the affair. Not the lies. But that moment, that casual tone, that lack of shame. I had given her everything. My home, my love, my name. And she stood there with no remorse, like I was the one who should understand. I told them both to leave. I couldn't look at them anymore. Daniel begged. Lena didn't. She just walked out like she'd already prepared for this. I stood in the living room shaking, surrounded by memories that now felt like cruel jokes. The girl I raised, the man I married. They had taken everything sacred in my life and turned it into ashes. And the worst part? I had let them in. I had loved them too much, trusted too deeply, and now I had nothing left. After they left, the house felt like a stranger. Every room held a memory I didn't trust anymore. The couch where we watched movies, the kitchen table where Lena did homework, the hallway where Daniel kissed me goodnight. It all felt like a crime scene I couldn't leave. I filed for divorce a week later. Daniel didn't fight it. He sent flowers, letters, said he was sorry, that he'd made a mistake, that he still loved me. I didn't respond. Love doesn't look like betrayal. Love doesn't sleep with your child behind your back. Lena tried once. Just once. She sent a message that said, "I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't know how to stop it." I stared at the screen for a long time, then deleted it. If she didn't know how to stop it, then she never learned what love meant. Family took sides. Some blamed Daniel. Others whispered that Lena was young and confused, that I should have seen the signs. Like it was my fault for not being suspicious enough, as if trusting them was the sin, not what they did with that trust. I started therapy. At first, I just sat there and cried. Then I began to speak, to unravel the pain word by word. I talked about my sister, about what it meant to raise Lena, to love someone so deeply that you forget she isn't really yours, until she reminds you in the worst way. I stopped going to family gatherings. I couldn't stand the questions, the pity, the side eyes. I wasn't interested in forgiveness or peace talks. I wanted space. I wanted to rebuild, not just my home, but myself. Because somewhere in all this, I had lost who I was. The hardest part wasn't losing Daniel. It wasn't even Lena. It was losing the version of myself who believed love was safe, who believed loyalty meant something. That version of me died the moment they chose each other over me. It's been 10 months. The divorce is final. Daniel lives in another state. Lena, I don't know where she is. I don't check. I don't ask. I've blocked them both. Not out of hate, out of survival. Because healing sometimes requires silence, even from people you once called family. I've repainted the walls, thrown out the old sheets, given away the dishes she used to set the table with. Slowly, this house is becoming mine again. Not the past version. A new one. Quieter, still bruised, but stronger. Sometimes I dream about her. Not the woman who hurt me. The little girl with scraped knees and big questions. The one who held my hand in crowded places and called me mommy when no one else was listening. I miss her, but I don't know if she still exists. I've learned that betrayal doesn't always come with warning signs. Sometimes it comes with laughter, with hugs, with shared birthdays and whispered secrets. It hides in love that feels real until it slices you open from the inside. People ask me if I regret raising her. The truth? I don't. I gave her love, safety, a future. What she did with that wasn't my failure. It was her choice. I won't carry the shame for someone else's betrayal. Now I take long walks. I cook for one. I speak to a therapist who reminds me that boundaries are not cruelty. They are protection. And I've learned how to protect myself finally. Not with anger, but with clarity. I know what I deserve, and what I'll never accept again. So now I'll ask you this. If the person you raised as your own shattered your life from within, could you ever forgive them? Or would you learn to let go and walk away? Just like I did?